Yeah. Hello,
Wow.
everybody.
Hello. Welcome to Quantum Talks, Bridging Worlds with me, Annie Andersson, and with Norina, Bramke. Wonderful to be here. This is our sixth episode of Quantum Talks, but it's the first time we are airing on YouTube. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. How do you feel about this today?
I'm super excited. And um, for everybody who listened to us before, they know we cannot shut up. We just keep talking. And usually our conversations get juicier and juicier the longer we talk. So therefore, we moved our conversations from Instagram to YouTube because it's just a much better platform. But we hope to keep the same vibe, just being spontaneous and see where the conversation takes us.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So for anyone who can stay with us to the very end, it's a pattern. It gets better and better towards the end always, and then we have to wrap it up because we have no choice. So always another cliffhanger, another something for next week, and today I'm excited to dive in deeper into a little bit of Norina's past, actually, because we have started to get to know her a bit. We know more about her work with the QHHT and the BQH healing therapy that she's the master of, like talking from experience. And today I'm just feeling like we want to know more about you because we know about your work, but we want to know more about the story, a little bit more about the past. So I want to dig into that, not to make you too nervous.
I hope, yeah, just ask away.
I love it. I love it. So, well, just really looking back at your past, one of the questions that I've had like brewing in me is always so interesting to know how a person, ends up where you are working with what you do. And I know that you have mentioned a little bit in the past that it sort of just happened. Like you were so chill about it. Like it's so simple, it just happened. And like, okay, sure. But everything has a story. So
Mm.
please let us in more about your past. Like, where did the story begin? And feel free to start as far back as possible.
Then we have to start before I came into this human body, I guess. Because we always plan the lifetime, for a certain purpose and with all its challenges. And yeah, from my perspective, everything I do is just the next logical step. Like, what else would I do? And I don't know where to even start. Like, probably when I was young. So, our childhood and upbringing plays a role, and without going into too much detail, but my family was dysfunctional, and I was a very introverted child, very shy. I cried every day.
Mm.
You said my name, I cried, and I didn't know why, and it drove me crazy, and I got attacked for it, and it was a mess. I had deep abandoning wounds, and I mean now I understand. I was such an empath. Like I felt the pain from my family members, my mother specifically. In my body, I had body pains, a lot of psychosomatic symptoms, going to doctors, and of course, there's never an answer. Because it comes from the energetic body. So
Yeah.
mhm.
And that's we don't know that at that time, right? And especially as kids, and the adults usually, back in the days, were not
Mm.
aware of that either. So yeah, what a start.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, the doctor said it is psychosomatic, but people had a different understanding back then. They thought like, oh, you just make it up.
Mm.
um, well, that is very far from the truth. Everybody who has symptoms that are psychosomatic, they know they are very real. Yeah. So I just grew up like in a very dysfunctional family. I was very, very sensitive. I was very deep in my world, and I felt like very restricted and limited. So big theme in my life is freedom, um, to really strive for freedom, and whatever we want to experience in a lifetime, we usually put ourselves into the opposite contrast situation. So I was born into a family where I was not allowed to be in touch with my grandparents, my uncles, my aunties. These were all arch enemies of my mother who controlled us. You know, the abuse is always controlling, isolating the victims. So I grew up very isolated from my big family, just our nuclear family. And I was born in Eastern Germany when the wall was up. So also there, a lot of limitation. And that is like one theme in me. This like I feel like I'm constricted. I'm limited. It is like a pressure cooker in you. So the drive for freedom gets so strong, and that is what your soul really wants to experience. You know, so I left my family when I was 15 and never looked back. I was guided the entire time. I did feel like there's a guide here and a guide there, and they keep me on track, because I don't know how all these official steps, you know, with my parents lost custody and stuff like that, how all of that happened. It was like I felt at that time like very guided. And also as a teenager, I was very spiritual. The only books I started to read as a teenager were esoteric books and trying to really understand things. And that was a time before the internet. So I remember going to the library and going to that section, and then I read about symbols, but I always felt like, yeah, but that's not it. There is something deeper. I always felt like what I found back then in books, like that's still on a surface level, but what is the real meaning? There's something much deeper.
Was
And
there a specific symbol or anything that you remember from that time that you
yeah,
hooked onto first?
yeah, I remember looking into Egypt and the Egyptian gods and symbols and the Ankh cross, and I was wearing the Ankh cross as a teenager, and of course, like
Such a cool
now I
girl.
understand it like so much deep, like also that comes through in sessions. And one of my last sessions, my client didn't know anything about the anchors, but it explains the meaning to me like textbook, like perfect. What I learned and what's now, thanks to the internet, freely available on the internet, that information.
And for people
So
who don't know or about the Anki cross, can you give us a brief description what it means and what it means to you?
it is it has different meanings, but they're all kind of connected. So the anchors is like a cross, but with a loop on top, and it's connected to Egypt, but also to Atlantis. As I learned recently, and
all
it is
the roads leads back to Rome, right?
mhm. It is the connection to two different worlds, like the life and the afterlife. It is a protection of travelers. So back then, when I was young, I was like, oh, it's protection for traveling, but then also life and death and the afterworlds and other dimensions, and I couldn't put them together. like of course, like you travel through different dimensions, through worlds, like this is all one. So it is a key to access different worlds. And yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I know always with symbolism and all these things, like they have their meanings for sure, but there's always something specific that makes us drawn to it, and it varies from person to person. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
always curious.
and I said in other episodes already, the dreams I had even when I was a child, when I was a teenager, where I like explore other planets. I'm in vast, very different landscapes, no sign of civilizations, and I know at certain parts in this reality there's a portal. And yeah, so that started when I was like teenager, and I actually thought about studying philosophy. I was into philosophy and religion and all these things.
Did you
Yeah.
feel like, how did you feel when you discovered like this portals, these dream worlds, all these things because you were a teenager, and I just relate to myself.
Mm.
Like when I started seeing spirits, that freaked me the hell out. Like, how was this for you?
I remember I was just like, it is so real, it's so vivid, it's so intense, and it's not like a normal dream that starts fading away. So I was just like, I want to paint it, I want to put it in a movie. I want that other people can experience the same what I experienced. I had that strong desire, like to make it physical in a way through video or photographs or paintings. And I was into art back then, and of course I failed. Like there's no way even to get close to it.
I mean, I can relate. I can relate. I wish I could.
Mhm.
Like, if I could paint and illustrate the things that I see, poof, I could make a living out of that alone.
I was there. Yeah, so I remember the strong desire, like, oh my God, I just want to share this. I want to share this. And yeah, anyway, to fast forward a bit, like it was always a part of me to be like tapped into this world. And oh yeah, and you know what? When I was in primary school, the first class on my school report, my teacher said that she, like me, she cries a lot and she loves to help. And not anything has changed. I still cry a lot.
Oh
But
my
because I'm
god.
touched, because I'm touched, not because I'm sad, just I feel a lot of collective emotions. And I still just love to help in any way. And for a long time, I thought like that's not main character energy. But that shifted, and I understand like it's so fulfilling for me to help. Like it's the best. And yeah. So yeah, so I was
So
that then I
would you
decided,
say that that is your mission on this
oh
earth?
yeah, yes, yeah, 1,000,000%. I know, like to help people like with my being. Like
Mhm.
when I'm being me, I do the natural things that help people, and sometimes it is just my energy. And my energy, like when you're with me, when you feel me, like we all have our unique energy. And something that seems to be very typical for me is that people feel very calm and grounded with me, and they want to tell me all their life secrets.
Well, you know
And
all
there's this,
mine. We haven't known each other for very long.
mhm,
So I can sign out. I can sign on that
mhm,
quote. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Well, it's
and
true. It's true. But did
and
you
I,
know when they started? Sorry, did you know when they started? Because you said like, oh, when I was a child, like you already there, like love to help people and all this stuff. Like, when did you realize that that was actually your calling?
to help people, um, a calling, like I'm just here to do that, like in the most positive way.
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, it's not just do that. Like,
yeah,
that's a major
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
mm-hmm.
I would say there isn't knowing the entire time, but then there are more layers of conditioning on top of that. And it's more about removing the layers of conditioning that is telling you you should be this or you should be that or should, achieve certain things. The conditioning when it comes to material things was never strong in me. Like when I decided to study, I never thought if I can make money with that. I just like, how do I want to spend my time? That is what I gotta do, you know. And I studied art history. I have a master degree in art history, and it's all decoding things.
Mm.
Everything is code in art as well. So this coding, understanding or decoding, understanding things in depth and helping people. These are like themes that are with me my entire life. So that's why I say like it's just logical to do what I do today, because it is not something new I picked up. I just cultivated it more, and I let go of layers of conditioning and yeah.
And like during this
Mm.
process of all these years, like because
Mm.
I hear you. Like what I'm hearing is like, oh yes, I was kind of guided like from one thing to the next, and it was like very easy, just following the path.
Mm,
But it's not always so easy to just follow the path. Like we love to get in our heads about stuff, and like you're saying, the conditioning and
mm,
all these things. Like, did you have like were you on this by yourself on your own, or did you connect to spirits, guys, or like, you know, did you have any
mm.
contact with that, or was it just like intuition guiding you on what's next?
Yeah, it was intuition. Like I was not much in my head at all. Like since I left my family when I was 15 and I was on my own, like because I didn't grow up with family members. So it was
Mm.
just me and my friends were my family. Um, like
Relatable
you
to
know
that.
how other young people experience that the parents put pressure on them to pursue a certain profession. I didn't experience any of that. I felt like very free and very guided. I could not understand how people think differently, think more, long term. Like I would never think long term. I would just be like, well, I want to create a happy life, so what makes me happy now, and the conditioning from society, I felt that stronger in my mid-20s than before.
Mm.
So it started more later, for a few years in my life, that I felt more like, oh, now I'm that age, maybe I should do this or that. But when I was younger, no, I was all emotion. um,
Wow.
Emotion running through me. I could not hide any emotion. When I needed to cry, there was no holding back, and I tried because it's embarrassing in many situations. Um, but I learned to, I can only be authentic. I cannot put on a mask. I tried in my younger years, because that would have been easier. But I'm not made like this. I'm made to let everything run through me, and learn to let go of my own judgment when it comes to crying on a train and stuff
I
like
just feel
that.
like it sounds so cute. Like I'm sure it was very, challenging, but it just sounds so cute to me.
I thought, like, what can happen? Either someone comes and asks, "Are you okay?" Which would be nice, and then I can say, "Yes, I just need my privacy," and that would be okay. Or people ignore me, and that's fine too. And people always
What
ignored me.
happened mostly? Yeah, I was just gonna ask you. I was like, because this was in Germany, right? Yeah, I'm sorry. That was like,
Yeah, yeah,
suspected.
yeah. Here in Australia, people wouldn't ignore. They would probably approach me. It's just a different culture. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just thinking, like, it is just emotion. It's fine. Everybody cries. Everybody should. And it's the natural cleansing process of the body, right? It's salt water. So it's an inner cleansing. It's good. And you learn so much about releasing tears. It's not always sadness. It is stress release.
Oh yeah.
It can be so much. So I learned to to discern what type of crying that is. And since I had this childhood, this upbringing with all these emotions and crying, like I am so extremely comfortable with people that are a mess in front of me. Like no problem for me. I can hold space because
You've been there.
yeah, like it just doesn't scare me, shock me in any way. Like I'm completely calm, and you can only hold space for people when you are comfortable with your own emotions, like sadness,
A
anger,
hundred
all these
percent. 100%. I think
things.
that's one of the initiation rituals that many of
Mm,
us healers and space holders
mm,
has gone through, like
yeah,
that kind of
mm,
path, whether it
yeah,
was in childhood or later
mm,
on in life. Like it's
mm,
an initiation. Let's see
yeah,
it like an initiation
yeah.
process. It's not
And
fun,
and
but necessary.
And you asked me earlier if I was guided by spirit guides and things like that. So different than you, I would not see my guides as a child. Some people, many people have that. I cannot recall that, but I remember that I was seeing other places. I'm not sure if it was during daytime or nighttime, because later on in meditations I went back to those, and I always thought that was like from a video game or a movie I saw, but no, that was actually a different place I could visit again later in my adult life. And there were years moving forward when I was a child, and I was afraid of aliens, and they would get me every night. And
They would get you every night.
yes, every night. I was afraid. It was a big thing for me. And later, when I was a bit older, I had partners, and they would sleep next to me. They would tell me that I speak when I sleep, and I usually say, "No, please don't." And I don't have nightmares. It's so extremely rare.
I'm getting so much chills.
Okay, now it's getting interesting, because a month ago I did a quantum healing session with myself, and I got answers
about this very specific topic.
Yeah, now I understand everything. Which of course I tell you all, which of course I was wondering about for many years. Like, I like to go to the depth of things. Don't like to stay on the surface level. And
please indulge us. Like, really, this is okay. So curious.
Okay, so now it's getting a bit spacey.
Love that. That's
maybe
why we're here. We
Yeah.
love the spacey stuff.
and maybe a bit of background story. So in other visions and journeys, without any plant medicine, just through meditation or a Temazcal journey, like I've seen like blue star beings, which I'm connected to. And so I did this journey with myself, and then I saw this blue being, but like hyper realistic. So I could see the skin texture, the bone structure. So different than in other visions where it was a bit more ethereal. It was like hyper realistic, like, even I couldn't see the skin texture. So I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
And what kind of age were you at this time?
When I had, that was a month ago when I had the session with myself.
Oh, this was when, okay.
Okay,
please continue.
Yes. But when I had this fear every night that they would come and get me, that was, maybe I was 9 or 10, maybe.
Okay, wow. So it's really been with you like throughout life.
Yeah. And so anyway, I met this being, and I felt so much love and joy, and it's really the emotion that is the connection. And then I asked, can I ask you some questions? Like I do that in my sessions. And it's like, yes, of course. And I asked many questions about my life, about so many things, why I'm nearsighted, why, things I could never get the answer for. And now I got 100% of the answer and clarity, and I love to share it. So I don't mind sharing that. When I asked about, like, was I ever adopted as a child, and I was like, yes, of course. It was like a family visit. We always checked on you. They were like, yeah, like we always checked on you, and I'm like part of a collective. It's not like me as an individual. And I know that from other visions, it's like a collective. We are like all the same. I'm more like the front man, if that makes sense. But they kind of all experience this human life through me. Okay, and I'm just
there
excited.
You were. No,
we're just happy and excited. Yeah. Okay. But what's I asked, like, okay, why was I always afraid as a child? And then explain, like, because I looked through the lens of fear. As a child, I was living in so much fear, family environment, that I perceived everything through fear, and that's why I was afraid. Like, that
Which makes sense.
Really? Yeah, and then I asked, like, why did they? I always knew they're for me. They're not for my brother, and we shared a room when we were young. And they said, because he's a complete like he doesn't belong to us. It is a different vibration. It's a different energetic being. There's no energy match.
And so, did he ever react or picked up on anything during those
nothing.
nights?
nothing. He never had any fears like that. Nothing.
Yeah.
He is very different to me.
I
Like
also
same.
feel like, I don't know, from my own experience, that even if we would share a bed or share a room and something like that happen, for some reason the other
Mm-hmm.
person in the room who isn't meant to notice will
Yeah.
sleep like a rock, like zoned out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like that in itself is, you know,
Yeah.
influenced, affected somehow,
Yeah.
that they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I asked, like, so what about me speaking when I sleep and saying, no, no, please don't. And everybody thinks I'm having the worst nightmares. And they explained to me, so so when they come to do the family visit and check on me and heal me, give me strength, whatever I need, um, which was always like pleasant, but I was just perceiving it from the human perspective through fear. Um, they don't take my physical body, they take my astral body. And I was so attached to the physical body, I didn't want to let go. So this like taking of the astral body and letting go of the physical body in that moment, I was holding, I was like, no, no, please
Oh
don't.
yeah.
That is that what I was saying. And that's also why I still said that like many times, even though I was much older in relationships and in a different situation, it was still this like, well, being very attached to the physical body. While these days I don't have that anymore because I'm leaving this physical body all the time anyway. That
Yeah.
attachment to the physical part isn't there anymore.
That's lovely. I mean, that's progress, but I think also you have experienced it many times now, right? So I think
Yeah,
you maybe know that you will come back to the physical body. Like, you will not leave it forever. This is not it. Like, you will come back.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So that is
What's
very
just funny
interesting.
like, no, I'm just like, we think so much, like the human version of us thinks so much, like, oh, we're hearing, oh, no, 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 we're thinking, oh, bad, something bad is going to happen. It was literally just you having attachment things with your physical body. Like, oh, that's
Yeah,
actually not not that bad. You know, not
yeah,
that dramatic actually.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know also from that perspective that I'm just here to help. And every time I ask my guides about material things, they're like, it's so not important. Like they don't understand why we humans make a fuss about anything. I will always be comfortable because if I'm not, then I can't do my purpose. They're very like, don't you get it? Like you're here to do a job. We will need to give you the important things so you can do your job. Like don't worry about the other stuff.
Oh.
So yeah.
Like, that's incredible.
Mm,
Like, if we
mm,
can just let that sink in, because I think that is so extremely important. It makes so much sense, and in the way that you're saying it, like any job, if you're taking on a job, if you're an employee, just to make it more simple, like, if
mhm,
you're meant to, if you're to be a carpenter and you are hired for a carpenter firm, like, they need to give you the tools, otherwise how are you going to do it? You don't question that, right? Because we don't really question the things in the physical world that we find obvious. But
mhm,
it's the same thing that applies, just like this. But that's so much harder to relate to, and it's about trust. So, like,
mhm,
literally, I just want to, like, for anyone who's tuning in to our live today or watching the replay, like, hear this one, truly hear this one, because this is confirmation. This is
mhm,
confirmation from the what is beyond these dimensions, what are like normal
mhm,
understanding of our physical awareness, the limiting of the human mind and beliefs. Like, this is it. You got the confirmation, and you're telling us that right now, that we can actually relax and trust and be provided if we're
mhm.
here to
Yeah.
follow up on our mission, on our job. They will make sure that we have what we need to make that
Mm.
happen.
Yeah.
Is
And and I'm quite logical and I like to go deep. So they really like make it obvious for me that I understand like if you don't have the basic things covered that you're comfortable, then you're in survival mode, then your energy will go to yourself and then you're not doing your purpose. So don't, it's all good, just chill. But money and material things can come through so many channels. It doesn't need to be that one business idea or business you're running. It can be through other people in your life. Like, let go of that judgment that it has to come a certain way. And that is that conditioning, especially as modern women in Western society. It can feel illegal just to relax and not work hard, like it's such a
Scary.
strong conditioning.
Yeah.
And that is something I let go like more and more, because they always give me the same message. And believe me, I asked my guides probably 5 or 6 times, and they're like rolling their eyes like, fuck, is she asking again? It's always the same answer. Yeah.
If there's something they're not short of, is patience. Really.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, but so just like, because now you did this, you asked these questions like a month ago, and you could
Mhm.
see, is this the first time that you see them so clearly, like you describe
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. So before, when I saw them, like I said, it's not as 3D, like hyper
Mhm.
realistic. It was more like I thought it's 3D, but then what I experience now, like the color, the blue color was different. I could see what I saw before was more like an energetic picture of it, like and now it was in the flesh. And the
Oh,
blue is a bit more pale blue. When I ask, like, okay, where are you from? Like, what constellation? It's not one of the big known ones. Like, so that's always what I felt like, maybe in that direction. But there was never that click. Oh my God, it's from the Pleiades. It's from Arcturus. It's from wherever. And I never felt like that's it. I felt like, a little bit in that direction, but
so
yeah.
did you get clarity in that, where they are from? Did they tell you?
Well, I got clarity in the way that it is not one on a human level that's publicly known. It is in the like it's near one of the bigger known ones, near Arcturus in that area, but it's not one of them. The energy I feel from them is like very excited, very joyful, and just loves to help and very curious. And yeah, I am that too, so it makes sense. And yeah, they just love to see this human life and help. They're just the childlike excited to be here and help.
Wow. That's amazing. That's really amazing. And I love these kind of perspectives, and that we can spread awareness around this too, because
Mm,
the encounters that I've had, the conversation that I've had also with extraterrestrials is literally all along that line. It's similar, like they're happy, they're curious, they really want to help, like they
mm,
are impatiently excited, like to be like, hey, we want to do this, like why are you delaying? It's always us. It's always us
mm,
that is not catching the memo in time. But so much happiness, so much joy, kindness, patience, understanding, compassion, like all these things they have. And it's like there's so many different species, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I guess species is the right word.
mm,
And they all share this, compassion of wanting to
mm.
assist and help. And here we are on Earth being like, oh my God, let's hope the aliens doesn't invade us. But oh, well, we got so much support. Yeah, like
Yeah,
where would we be without this support? I don't know. Like we would be so far behind unless we
a
had this kind
million
of
percent.
support.
A
Yet
million
they can't
percent.
even help us. Like they can't even help us too much. Like they're not allowed to. Like
Hmm.
it needs to go in a certain pace as well. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we still need to be empowered. Like, some people might want to give all their power away to their spirit guides, and then they will stop helping because it's not about them living your human life. They're just support, but you have to make your decisions. You are in the driver's seat. If you go over to the passenger seat, your spirit guides won't like it. They're like, no, 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 that is not the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's amazing the work that they're doing. That's all. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. They have
Mm.
blown me away so many times, and I know for sure it's not it's far away from the last one.
Yeah.
And I think
And
collectively we're just going to have more and more encounters, more and more information
mm,
from this kind of sources coming through. And I just find it happy that you're sharing these kind of things because I think it's so important. Because also I think more and more people are going for sure wake up, start working with their intuition, connection, channeling, these kind of things. And yes, it's good to and important to be discerning and safe and
mm,
all these things, but it's not, we don't need to
yeah.
be scared in that way. Like
Mm,
there's a lot of beautiful people, creatures that got our back and really wants our best.
yeah. And yeah, it's very interesting. Also, the times we're living in now, that it's just getting more obvious
Mm.
that that help from above, or it's not really above; it's all around us. Um, but to continue, maybe a little bit the story of my life
Yes,
and how I came
please,
here.
please.
Just maybe one more point. I was working as a yoga teacher for many, many years. And so yoga was also an important part in my life because um, I teach more traditional and it's all about energy work. It's not like physical entertainment. And I had good teachers when I was younger in my early 20s, and I was in an advanced class. And then the teacher said, like, okay, now for the next 5 minutes, you do your own practice. And we all were like, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was such a wake up call that you're not here to copy movements. Do you even know what you're doing? And so, like, yeah, then learning like the energetics of all of that, feeling it in your body. So I know exactly for myself how to practice to get into different states of consciousness, which is just, it's like a highway. It's direct. And when I teach, I want to teach that approach to people, but I don't really teach yoga anymore because for me, like, we need 3 hours at least. Again, I like to go deep. I don't like to stay on the surface. In a 1 hour yoga class, you're just warm. That's it. You couldn't go deeper. You need much more time. So everything I do, like my hypnosis sessions, everything, it always takes a couple of hours. But for me, that's
Yeah,
required to reach the
if,
depth.
for people who wants to stay surface level,
Mm.
Norina is not your woman.
No.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. She will go deep. If you are ready, that's
Mhm.
when you. Mm-mm. Yeah, there is no scratching on the surface here.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
I just want to know everything. So understand it like if you know the gene keys, like my life purpose is to bring the complexity to simplicity and then the quintessence. And like that is really how I see everything. I'm so interested in the complexity of life, and then I see it very simple. And then I like to share it, like to share and
And
tell
honestly,
others
we
about it.
are in deep need of that. We are in deep need of that. We are so many who are so confused, taking in so much information from all the different sources. I'm getting questions so often about like interpreting these things. Like, we need people like you who take the complex and just make it understandable. Like, literally,
Yeah.
literally. Please, please
I love
continue.
it. Like if you know me in person, you know I love to explain stuff. And it doesn't
And it,
matter what it is.
and
I
not
just
everybody
explain.
can do it. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Everybody can do it. Like, for some
Mm,
people who have a lot of knowledge, they love to talk about this, but doesn't mean that the receiver actually understands it. Or maybe they need to be like, oh, you need to come up to this level to understand it. Like, no, true embodiment, true
mhm,
understanding is like really being able to explain these really complex things in a very simple way for everybody to understand that. And
mhm,
yeah, it's not a skill that everybody has. And
mhm,
if you have it beautifully in your DNA, in your gene keys, like,
mhm.
why,
Yeah.
wow. Mm-hmm.
And my human design life theme is the cross of explanation too. So again, yeah, that
It's just
makes
funny
sense.
how all these things are just like clicking.
Hmm.
Really, uh, is amazing. Like I probably, I'm just, I don't even like. I'm just assuming that your astrology is gonna say the same thing. Usually, it's like all the things they're talking about the same exact stuff.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus sun, um, a Cancer moon, and a Pisces rising. So for everybody who's interested in that, I'm not deep into astrology, but when I look at my chart and I ask ChatGPT or something, like it does make sense. Like all of these methods, they always point to the same thing, what I know about myself. Like when I use it, I don't discover new things about myself. It's more like validation of something I knew all along. Like
Yeah.
I know that I love to teach stuff and pass my knowledge on, whatever I understand, explaining. um, and and my master, like my life path number with numbers is 33, the master teacher. um, I know that in human design I'm a 4/6, so my inner circle, all the good things come through my circle, and I'm the authority in my circle. Like, yeah, okay, like I can see that I can let go of the idea of like I need to find new followers or new strangers to connect with. No, like if that happens, fine, but focus on the relationships I have in my life, and just trust that all the good things come through that. And if I look back at my life, partners I had and how I met them, it's kind of true. And it's not that the friend was directly involved, but because of the friend, I did something specific, and that led me to meet a certain person.
Yeah.
So it's all such a big orchestration.
Have you
And
ever felt like, I mean, I feel like it sounds on your story like it went so easy, all the transitions and the guidance, and the one person led you to the next step. But have you ever felt during this journey that like resistance to follow that guidance, or resistance to step up to the occasion? Have you ever felt like, no, I don't want to do this, or like hesitation? Is that anything, or has it just been really smooth sailing for you?
there were moments, very few, when I was just a bit burned out and I needed time with myself and I didn't feel like client work. Like that happens, and I think that happens probably to most of us. But but then I'm speaking about a week or maybe a few weeks. That's, I don't question what I'm doing. Otherwise, no, because I guess it's a gift, but can also come with challenges. Like I can only do the things that bring me joy. Otherwise, I can't. Like you can't pay me enough money to do something I'm not enjoying. Like I just can't do that. It feels like that. That's not even a choice for me. If you give, I don't know, like it's impossible for me. It must bring me joy, otherwise I'm not moving a millimeter.
No, I think like with you, and for people who maybe followed us for a while now, we're starting to get to know you. Like you're for sure a preacher of like following the past, of least resistance, like follow your joy. And now today, when we get to know a little bit more about you, a little bit more about your childhood, a little bit more about your story, like I find it amazing actually, how our shadows and some things like could be our blessings in life, because for sure not many people start living their own life at the age of 15, or like going on out on their own path as a teenager. Like it's a minority, it happens, I know, because I have a similar experience, but it's not the majority, to be clear, it's not. And I think a thought that I've had a lot is like, wow, How are we so young expected to be able to know what we want to do in life, to pick the right education, to pick the right schools? How can you put that pressure on somebody in like the 14, 15 years old? But as you said, like you skipped that kind of conditioning, also the pressure from the parents, and that allowed you, like that created that window and space for you to tune into and be young enough to actually just go for that path of
Mm,
least existence and joy. Like you got to
yeah.
follow that. And what I hear from you is like, and from that story, is that it's a direct embodiment of that, and you did it in such a young age. Because many people, they don't get to like face those things, and that is not like facing for the first time. That is like recorrecting things that has been, you know, done because of external
Mm,
pressure or other things or conditioning. um so I think that is so beautiful, because I know, and I, through all of our conversations, you're always like, follow that least, follow that path of joy. Just do what you think. Like, what are you excited about right now? Okay, do that. Like, we are
mm,
provided for. It's literally what I hear you saying in different codes every time. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful thing to hear. Truly, I just want to, like, this is a big thing that
thank
you're
you.
giving to
Yeah.
us here. Mm.
Yeah. So I definitely saw when I was younger that I had like less conditioning from society. I felt like I'm outside of society. I just do my own thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I was always aware of that when I was younger. I feel more part of society the older I get, because I think most people have worked through these phases now. They realize their conditioning, society, family, all of that, and they let go of a lot of that. Still work in progress, but a lot of people caught up and awakened, and I feel um, compared to when I was younger, definitely a little bit more part of society.
Do you feel like you got a head start, like apart from others that has to, go
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
cycles? Yeah.
yeah, and I always knew it that okay, so I had to grow up fast when I could do everything for myself, like from cooking and laundry and having my own finances when I was 13. So,
Mm. Wow.
um, yeah, and when I was 12, I looked like 18. I looked older because I had to mature very fast in my family environment. So
And to be fair,
therefore,
to
I
be
looked
12, it's a child. It's a child to be 12.
now. I agree. Back then, I obviously felt like I'm an adult, but yes,
Yeah.
I agree. Um, but yeah, that definitely helped me, and speaking to friends and being with people like okay, all my friends were at least 5 years older. Always, I um I would joke that my friends are in the age group of gray hair, even when I was 20, because I could
Life
relate
change.
much more. And when I was with people in similar age, like I knew, like it's just they had a different upbringing and they just have to learn a few hard lessons later in life. I learned them a bit earlier in life. What's better? It doesn't matter. There's no better or worse. It's just a different experience. We all have to learn certain lessons, and for me, a lot of them came very early.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean, we all have our own divine timing and timeline. And if you are going to, do this work, they're
Mm.
prepping you for that. Yeah. I mean, you starting
Mhm.
earlier, you can help people for a longer time. I mean, why waste
Yeah.
if that's what you signed up for? Like,
Mhm.
wow.
And I always knew, sorry, and I always knew once I left, like the worst part of my life is over. I always knew like it's only going up. It's only going up.
Wow, that's so funny because I had the exact same feeling growing up. I was like, the adulthood is the best part, and it still goes like keep on getting better and better. That's like that's the certainty, the deep certainty always been felt.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
freedom. That's freedom.
Yeah.
Um. So, I mean, you have had this. We talked about it through this whole episode, like how constant and kind of clear your path and your guidance has been, even though it was like pure intuition. But for people who are confused or maybe uncertain about their path or like where to go, do you have any kind of advice for anyone who might be in that place, be like, oh, I don't know what my intuition says, or I don't know where to go next, or if they feel splittered, or do you have any kind of
Yeah,
yeah.
simple. You just have to ignore the outside noise and tune in. So be quiet. Do a yoga practice if you want, or meditation practice, or whatever spiritual practice, whatever you feel drawn to. For me, it was definitely yoga, because it's energy work. It's, oh my God, I can talk forever about it, what you can experience and feel, and the geometry of it, and all the layers of it, like, you know. But if you don't feel drawn to that, you feel drawn to something else, go with that. But you want to ignore the outside noise, internet noise, TV noise, whatever you surround yourself with, and just be able to hear yourself and your own thoughts. And maybe your own thoughts won't be nice. Well, good. That's the first step to getting to know yourself and your mind chatter. And when you realize, like, wow, when I'm just with myself, I imagine a lot of arguments in my head. For instance, I've been guilty of this. I'm sure you too. And then, like, well, that's actually not even a real argument, but I just make it all up with maybe people that are not part of my life I've seen somewhere. And it just shows, like, seems like I'm drawn to conflict. Let go of that, so you realize, like, look at that, what's happening there? Do I enjoy this? I'm surprised what I'm seeing there. And no, the moment I realize it's happening again, cut, change, pattern interruption, I will do something else. So
And what could be a pattern interruption for people who don't know?
mhm. um, so you have to come up with something before that happens, because I think once you're in a pattern, you're subconscious, and it's not easy to come up with a new idea because you're in this loop. So that can be that you say, like, oh, every time I think of conflict, oh, okay, I open my eyes and I try to find the next flower or a plant, or go and touch a plant, or I just go to the bathroom and wash my hands with water. It can be good to do something physical. Don't try to think something else. You're still in the thinking mind. It's hard to think a different thought if you're still in the energy up here. Get into the body. That can also be a good tip if you find yourself, like, being in a loop, you're being triggered and you're acting automatic. I would say every time you find yourself doing that, go to the bathroom. Go and pee. It doesn't matter. It's interrupting that thought loop in your head, and it gives you a moment. Then you can choose a different kind of thought, a different approach. So yeah, come up with something else, and then, or maybe you're thinking like an old belief, like that would be like, oh wow, it's all on me, I have to do everything in life. Maybe that is a thought that comes up in you. Then you realize that, like, cut as a no, what is a new belief I want to feel, what feels good, and then you start to repeat that. But you have to think before about this. In this moment, you cannot come up with an idea. It's not realistic. So if you think like, well, it's all on me, I have to do everything in life, you can tell yourself, like, I am connected to all the help in the universe. How does that feel? And I just had that recently with a person in my life. So there can be like a shift from, like, oh my God, I carry the world on my shoulders, and you feel that physically, to you're connected and everything starts to relax in the body. To interrupt yourself is good. Like, every time you get conscious that something is happening in you, you're not happy with, like, you feel like this is an old pattern. This is not for my highest purpose right now, and you will be able to tell. You know, an outside person might not be able to tell. And, you know, and when you realize like, I'm doing the thing again, whatever the thing is, interrupt yourself, but have a plan already, and then just execute. And you do that a few times, and it will be out, and then it will be easy.
Yeah, and I think that is really the thing too, to have a thing like you're saying, so important to start with it, have it figured out, and then just give it time. Like, don't beat yourself up on the first try if it doesn't work, or the second, or the third, or the fifth, or maybe for some of you the 10th or the
Mm-hmm.
20th. Like,
Yeah.
it's about continue, it's about consistency of doing that.
Yeah.
I've had myself like many years ago now, but I was one of those people who just didn't want to be alone with their thoughts.
Mm.
I really, I was starting to do weird sounds, singing to myself, weird like jingles,
Mm.
anything, and I swear anything
Mm.
to not listen and be alone with my thoughts.
Mm.
And the only way, like if you're a person or someone who's going through something similar to that, the only way to come out on the other side is going through it. Like, we need to deal with
Mhm.
those thoughts, we need to literally block everything out and be with that in order to go through it. And what does help, yeah, is it's things like this.
Mm.
And I think it's a really good advice, I really think it's a good advice, but like speaking from somebody who did anything, like
Mhm.
from waking up through the day to going to sleep, like, and we're still talking like going to bed and like be alone in the nights with your thoughts. Oh no, it's gonna go. How is it possible? No, movies, books, anything, no, until we pass out by exhaustion. That was the only way. So yeah, talking
Yeah.
from experience, and
Yeah.
we gotta go through it.
Yeah. I can tell you my experience. Like I'm a crier. I can cry. I mean, these days because I'm touched, but many years in my life it was like childhood trauma, and in relationships things would come up, and I would be triggered. I don't even know why, but then I would be intensely crying for 3 hours. And my partner back then was a therapist, like great, like just a great person, 100%. And he didn't know what to do. And I realized, like, I can't give him instructions what to do because it won't work anyway. And okay, you can actually leave the room. I need to figure that out for myself, because for a long time I thought the other person just needs to do a certain thing, and he was just open, just tell me exactly what to do and I will do it. And it's
Mm.
like, actually, there's nothing I can tell you. So then I said by myself, like, okay, please leave the room and I will get myself back on track. And then the time shortened from 3 hours to 1 hour, and then 15 minutes. And I also noticed in that moment, I don't feel like moving my body. I'm like frozen, you know. And I'm sure people listening to this, like, we all have trauma. I'm probably speaking to many, and I don't mind sharing so personal things, but I um I then discovered, like, I need to move my body, like this interruption, like go to the bathroom, just go to the bathroom and then come back, and then there's already a different energy, you know. So when you do these interruptions, it helps you to get a little bit into different energy. You don't need to be in a happy mood straight away, no, but just a bit of a shift helps you to then go higher up in your own energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
Mm.
about hijacking the moment, I guess. Once it's
Mm.
starting to be like, whoa, it's happening,
Mm.
I know what to
Mm.
do. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Because now I have a new thing, whatever it
Mhm.
might be. Okay, so we are closing in on an hour of our live stream. So
Yeah,
I'm thinking we can close maybe with one last question before we wrap this up.
I would still have another chapter to tell, but okay. Maybe to make
So,
it very short, to have it complete
yes.
about my journey, because plant medicine is often a topic when it comes to spiritual awakening. So I just want to touch on this. that was not really a part in my journey. It can be, and I had like in a meditation in India, like an awakening. I was one with the void, with everything, and it changed me completely. And we can talk about these experiences, very supernatural experiences, another time. And I did ayahuasca, and I was one with source, and it was a very profound experience. But all of these things were like not necessary, like substances are not like a part in my journey. Yeah, I just want to talk about it because there's so much out there.
It's super,
I
super
feel for
important.
myself,
Yeah.
yeah, and I always knew for myself like I'm supposed to be clear, like a clear channel. Like even the years when I traveled, like I was always in a bubble where nobody would ever approach me about substances. Like I don't know, I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know that it existed around me like that. So I know that is like part of my path to stay clear and not cloud myself with other energies from natural substances even. And but that can be the path for others, but it's not a path of mine.
That's super. That's a very interesting detail. Truly, thank you for adding that. Um, because we all have different paths, and also it's interesting to hear like, oh, nobody approached you with that opportunity, even, or maybe offered you
Mhm.
something. Because also with the nature medicines, they come to us when we are ready. You don't decide when it's time; they decide when it's time, and if it's ever gonna be time. And yeah, super interesting to hear. So when you had, because you said you had what, ayahuasca once, or
Yeah, that was maybe like 5 years ago. And it was profound experience. Yeah, we can talk another time about it because I was shown how the universe and everything works. Like I remember past lives as an ant and all the interesting things. Um, what I can say to that just very briefly is it is a remembering, and we hear this all the time. You remember something, but I want to stress it is the most familiar thing you can imagine. You know how familiar maybe your childhood home is, or the face of your partner or your mother, like something deeply familiar in this human life. Can you think of something? Now times that 100. It's it's the most familiar thing where you feel like, I know this, and then it hits you like I experienced that a million times. It's so extremely familiar. Nothing in the human life is even close to that level of being familiar.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
no, that, I mean, I feel so much love to ayahuasca. I must say, I had a profound experience too. Let's say,
Hmm.
but yeah, stories for another time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we have gotten to know you on a deeper level today, and I'm
Mhm.
very grateful for you sharing your story and some very specific parts. So thank you for being so generous and sharing this, you know, really
Mm.
vulnerable and valuable information with us today, both from your experience of the childhood, but also the messages from the extraterrestrials, that you have this really cool channel as well. Like, I mean, I'm doing channeling and you're having your hypnosis things, but how cool are you to be like, oh no, I'm just gonna do the hypnosis with myself? I have these questions. Like, literally, anyone who is following us, who has a question, like, literally just hit us up with the questions, because you literally have two people right here that could be of service, getting some answers. If you want to go on a deeper journey with more life changing results to your questions, maybe health related or question marks from childhood or whatever it might be, Norina is your woman, for sure. I can just like, I had a session with you. I think it was like a month ago now or something like that,
Maybe, yeah.
more or less. And
Hmm.
I had an allergy I was struggling with for 7 years, more, yeah, like kind of 7 years, almost like a daily struggle, and I haven't had one breakout in since the session. Like
Amazing.
I can't honestly, like, you have changed my life, because this is life changing stuff.
Mm.
Something you struggle with like on a daily basis that is limiting your life so freaking much, and I haven't had one. Like I told
Mm.
Norina before we jumped on this session, I'm like, I've heard others telling me they're gonna heal me or whatever before. I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get disappointed if nothing changes. Like, if it
Mhm.
eases my symptoms, I would be happy with that. But hear me, not one breakout, not one, not even like congested nose, nothing. No, nothing. So yeah,
Love it.
no,
Love
I'm
it.
speechless. I don't have enough words to thank you properly. But like I
Mm.
mentioned earlier, like you don't go to surface level with Norina. She goes in there. She gets in there deeply. And it
Mhm.
might not be like, the thing is, I think many people will be like, oh, but it's so uncomfortable, I don't know if I'm ready. But even though how uncomfortable the truth and the things that I even experienced, like, it didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me on a physical level. It actually didn't even hurt me on an emotional level. Like, it was information, and it's provided to you in such a beautiful grace, and in such a held space with her,
Mm.
with Norina, with so yeah. I mean, I'm a living proof of the expertise this woman has and her. I have a lot more to say, but yes, we are past
Yeah.
an hour, and really, I think we have wrapped this up in a very, very beautiful way. We
Mm.
have, of course, as always, so much more to talk about, so much more to cover.
Mhm.
But for any of you who stayed for this long, I want to say, like, please subscribe and show us your support. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are available
Yeah.
here, YouTube, or new channels, or new collaboration here on this beautiful platform. But we're also
Mm.
available on Instagram.
Mhm.
We will put all these links below. And if you have maybe a friend or someone who's curious more about these subjects, like,
Mhm.
send them this link, spread the word, and
Yeah.
yeah, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will see you all hopefully next week, where we're gonna focus on Annie's expertise. Let's say that. And if there's anything specific you would like to know more about Annie about or myself, put it in the comments. I see already some people listening. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Lucy.